My Mom is Psychic, episode number 1. All right, I'm recording. Can you just put that up to your... Is this thing on?
Am I on? Okay.
Yeah, you're on.
Yeah, I'm on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
P-S-Y-C-H-I-C. That's how you spell psychic. Mom, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jay. Glad to be here.
Excellent. All right, so one of the things I wanted to clear up before we get into this whole thing too far is I want to understand what kind of talent you have.
Well, when you say the word talent, I'm not sure it's talent. I think it's more like a gift that probably most of us have. We just don't always find the passion and the interest in developing it. So I happen to come across this whole aspect of everyday life, and I was about 16. I hadn't known it was there, and had always known a friend of my grandmother's who happened to be psychic. And at 16, that kind of opened up a whole other world for me. I was very curious about what she was about. And I happened to walk through my grandmother's house one day, and she said to me, and had a strange look on her face, she said, I see you and your picture in a book. And I said, well, how do you know that? She said, you just walked by me and I saw it. And there were a couple of other instances, one about my grandfather's health, one about who I was going to marry. And those three all came to pass. And that it opened the door. It didn't convince me, but it opened the door. And from that moment on, I wanted to see if I had a gift to do what she was doing. And a few months later, she called me, I think because I bothered her so much. I called her every so often to see if she'd do a reading for me, which is how I do it. She used a regular deck of cards as a tool to connect to another level of thinking.
Okay, let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Let me just back you up. Now, I have a very inquisitive mind, so I'm going to drill you with questions like crazy.
Please do.
Okay? I have a scientific background, so every single thing that comes out of your mouth, I'm going to question. All right, that's me by nature.
Jay, you always have.
I know. That's why I went into science. Okay. Now, when you were 16, so what year was this?
It was probably about 1963,
okay.
Which was almost a year of metacognition for me. Now, there's a scientific term for you.
That's a really big word. All right, so if you're in 1963, you met with who? Who was it that told you or you discovered that you were psychic?
A friend of my grandmother's.
A friend
who visited her home often, and I happened to be in her home, my grandmother's home, when she was there.
Who was that?
Her name was Beatrice Young.
Mm-hmm.
She was an older lady at the time, same age as my grandmother. They were great friends. And I suspect, although she never really gave me a lot of detail, that whole idea of reading people or reading the cards for people and telling the future for people came down through her family.
Okay, so you went on a visit with your grandmother? What did you just say? You said you had...
I went to visit my grandmother's home.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
You went to your grandmother's home.
I was at my grandmother's home, and she was visiting my grandmother.
Gotcha. All right, so yes. Beatrice was visiting your grandmother, and you were at your grandmother's place.
Right, and I called her Auntie B. She was Auntie B. She was a family friend.
So she's just a friend. I've always known her as Auntie B, but she's never been a friend. She's never been an aunt at all. She's just been...
Just a family friend.
Family friend.
That's all.
So she's adopted this name.
And when I was 16, I discovered that she was psychic.
Okay. How did you discover she was psychic? She laid down some cosmic message to you that all came true?
She said to me when I walked by her, I think you're going to be in a book someday. I see your picture in a book.
Okay.
And I just was curious about how she seemed to think that would happen. And I asked her more about it. Well, why do you say that? And she said, well, I get these little pictures in my head. And she said, and I saw that one of you. And she said, I use cards. I use a deck of cards to kind of clarify things for me when I'm reading someone.
Okay, so Auntie B, Beatrice, has this gift where she can forecast somebody's future.
Right.
She has some kind of cosmic connection to the universe.
Correct.
And through the medium of a deck of cards,
yes,
she can predict the future of whoever she is with or whoever she is connecting to at that time.
Yes, so I believe that. She may not have been quite so confident about that. You know, she would just say, I'm going to try. I don't guarantee anything that I can get through or understand anything or tell you anything that's true. But she said, I can only put it out there and the cards never lie. This was a great quote that she said.
The cards never lie.
The cards never lie. You may not interpret them all correctly, but the cards never lie. They're always telling a story.
Okay, so Auntie B can see things in the future.
Correct.
Okay. And you recognized that she had this gift, and she recognized that you had the gift too?
Well, she was elderly at the time. Of course, she's been gone a long time now. But she put a lot of thought into the fact that she wanted to pass this on to someone. And she called me after, at least several months from the time that I first discovered that she did this. And she said that she had decided that the person she wanted to pass on this skill to was me.
Okay.
So I felt very honored that maybe she saw something in me. Maybe she just was reacting to my interest. I don't know. But she wanted to set up a time for me to come, and she would show me how to read the cards.
Okay, so 6 million people in the world, in the United States, or no, not 6 million, 300 million people in the United States, and she picked you.
Well, because she was a family friend as well, but she certainly knew that I was. It's almost like an epiphany when you discover something that you really connect to.
All right. So,
okay, and she saw that in me.
So if you're psychic, if you are a medium, if you can, are you in like this club, or can you identify if, all right, that person's psychic, can you kind of tell?
I think I can. It's more about discovering people who have the same interest.
Okay, so you can't just look at somebody and say, I know.
Oh, no.
You got to talk to them.
Of course. The same way you do everything. Like
anything.
You're a big hunter. You like to hunt. You don't go out and discover people who are hunters. You learn through talking to them. They hunt.
Right. I wouldn't necessarily, sometimes you can tell if they hunt based off of the camouflage.
The way they look, yes.
The gun they're carrying in their pickup truck.
But psychics don't have any special
look
to them. No.
So psychics you can't pigeonhole a psychic. You can't say.
I can't, no, unless they come up to me and tell me something.
And probably most people can't either.
Which is what she did, actually.
Okay. So Aunt B decides you are now going to be the trainee.
Yes.
And she starts training you to read the future.
Correct.
Through a deck of cards.
Yes.
So why a deck of cards?
I think it's just an ancient tradition, and I don't know where it ever started. I don't know why the certain cards have certain meanings. There's some variation to that. Some people use tarot cards. I don't happen to think that they work for me. And because she used a regular deck, and she started out and said, okay, here's a 2 of hearts. This is what it means. And we wrote it on the card, the meaning.
Okay.
So we wrote a meaning on every card. Sometimes there was a meaning at the top of a card and a meaning at the bottom of a card.
Yeah.
And when people shuffle the cards, those meanings get all reconstrued. And then when you lay them down and you group them in your mind in 5 or so, a hand of 5, you can connect the meanings.
Right.
And the more you do it, the better you get at connecting.
Okay. So then you start to interpret what the meanings are as they appear.
Yes. And also the more you do this, the more you discover. Like there was a point probably 20 years after I started doing this where I realized that there were actual numbers in the reading that represented things. And for instance, now I'll find a 7 and a 9 in a hand of cards, and I'll say to the person I'm reading, what happened in 1979?
Really?
And I find that very often something will connect.
Okay.
And to me, that was a big discovery, that there was more to it than the face value.
Okay. Gotcha. So it can kind of, not only does it predict the future, but it's supposed to be able to show you things that are connected to the future because of things that happened in the past.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. You've got it.
Amazing. I can put that together as a scientist. All right. So how long did it take you to learn?
Oh, I probably, I just started practicing, and I can remember the day I started was like I knew I was headed down a big path. And I don't honestly know. I was in high school at the time and practiced on my own, very seldom said anything to anyone except immediate friends. And then by the time I got to college, it was like the word was out and I got invited to every party. And
so you were like this closet psychic?
Closet psychic for a while. And then it became public and people would knock on my door in the dorm and want their cards read. And it was fun. I never took it to be anything other than fun.
So this is in the late 60s, early 70s?
Late 60s.
Okay.
Mid to late 60s.
Mid to late 60s. So
people were always looking for answers in those years.
And that was like when everybody was trying to be spiritual and find connections to the stars anyway.
And improve the world.
All right. So you had this little trump card in your back pocket.
Well,
no pun intended.
Think of it as a trump card.
Right.
I thought of it as a gift. I continue to think of it as a gift.
So you have this gift. You're going to college parties. You're throwing down cards. You're telling people what's going to happen to them. And are things coming true?
Well, I couldn't give you percentages, which is probably what you'd like, but I would throw things out there that I saw in the cards.
Okay.
I would just throw them out there. I don't have any connection to them. I don't even remember what I say to people. I just put it out there. And then as time went on, people would come back to me.
So do your eyes turn white and you like go into this trance? Or?
I don't go into any trance. I do think that there have been times over the years where I have gone to some other level of thinking. And I don't know whether I'm connecting to something, but there's a different feeling that I get. And you're going to love that. But there's a different feeling that I get. And when that happens to me, usually what I say from that moment on is the truth, is real. I've had that happen many times.
So you kind of got to you get in the zone like an athlete gets in the zone when they're playing sports, or anybody gets in the zone when they're at the top of their craft. You like kick into this other mental state. And
I've never watched myself do it, but I can feel that I'm probably I don't think I look any different, but I do think at times I am in a different place.
Can you feel it? Do you know when it's there, when it's not?
Yes.
So what do you do when it's not there?
I just
keep going?
I usually think of it as a parlor game at that point and think, okay, either this person isn't really into what I'm doing or is being a big skeptic or, we just don't connect. And I say so, and I have said so.
How seriously should somebody take this?
That's hard to say. I think it depends on the person. I think if they're really looking for answers, if they're looking for something to hang on to, something to dream about, something to get up in the morning for, absolutely take it seriously.
Okay.
If you're looking for something to laugh about and have fun with, then take it at that face value. And I've done that many times with groups of friends, and we'll have lunch, and then we'll read the cards, and we'll laugh and joke over. I have one friend who has 3 kings in her reading almost every single time, and I call her Cindy with the 3 kings, and we don't know who they are, and we're waiting for them to show up. Okay. But we laugh,
Now, okay, so people shouldn't take this completely seriously, but they can certainly use it as inspiration.
They can, and I love it when somebody comes back to me and says, you know that thing you said, and I thought it was so foolish at the time. But now I know what you meant, and I've experienced it.
Okay, so it can help people get up and get going every day. So it's an inspiration, and so whatever you say might actually give people some hope to get out of bed every morning.
And in that way, I hope it's a helpful thing, very helpful.
So that's how you're helping people. You're not,
I hope so.
You're not just trying to, this isn't like a hocus pocus game where you're just trying to.
Not at all.
Can people learn on their own, or do you have to be like part of the club before you can actually start being taught this stuff?
I've had people along the way who've asked me to show them how to do it. And one is my niece, Marcy. And as a Christmas gift one year, I wrote everything down for her. I think she's worked with it some. I don't think she's worked with it to the extent that I have. And I don't know whether she feels a connection to it. It may be the wrong tool for her.
Okay.
But I have tried to put it on paper so that people can use it as a guide. I've tried to do that.
Okay. You've given me that guide, and I'm working on steps to try to make it into a usable format for the novice. Mm-hmm. What do you call yourself, by the way?
I call myself a card reader.
A card reader. For the novice card reader. So we're working on creating something like that, and I guess that'll come out down the road. Why not tarot cards?
I don't connect to tarot cards. I don't like the pictures on tarot cards. I have a deck of tarot cards. I think you gave them to me, actually, for Christmas one year.
Right.
I get them out maybe once a year. What I find is that the message that they give me is usually very close to the message that I get out of a regular deck of cards. Again, there's that connectivity that I see.
Okay.
However, a regular deck speaks to me. Tarot doesn't really do it for me.
Okay, so it's kind of like, regardless of the medium that you're using to discover the future and find inspiration, the cards that you're using, whether it's a tarot cards or a deck of cards, is irrelevant. If you're connected, you're connected. That's what you're trying to say. And however, the tarot cards are generic to you, whereas the deck of cards it's like putting tarot's black and white. A deck of cards is like color.
For me, it is.
For you.
I had a friend who asked me to teach her to read cards the way I do it. And then she went from that to tarot. And then she went from tarot to astrology.
Right.
So she found her tool that worked best for her.
Gotcha. Okay. So we're setting this up so that, well, you've read my cards, and we're going to listen to that in a little bit. You've read Christy's cards. You've read Paige's cards, my daughter. So your granddaughter. So we've listened to a few different ones. Now, what we're trying to do is set this up so other people who would like to hear about their future, who believe in this kind of stuff, can actually call in. They can ask questions on the website. They can leave a message. They can set up a special time to do it over the phone. We can use it on air. We'll even have something set up where if they just want a private reading, they never want it broadcast at all, we'll have a situation for that too. All right. So understanding that, how do you, with somebody on the other side of the phone, figure out that the cards you're reading are for them?
Well, that's an interesting question, and it's one that I ask myself. But what I think I've come to believe is that, again, a telephone is a tool. Mm-hmm. And I think the person's voice is what I'll connect to, whether it's over the phone, whether it's sitting in my living room. I think it's the person's voice and something that I hear in that voice that will take me to that place where I can actually do a reading.
Okay, so the phone, the microphone, the computer, the voice, whatever it is, those are all our physical means, is what you're saying.
Right, and I don't even notice that they're there. I'm sitting in front of a microphone now. I'm looking at you.
Right.
Talking to you, not through the microphone.
So you could close your eyes, mm-hmm. and as long as you heard the voice, mm-hmm. you could figure out that the physical person on the other side of that computer, microphone, telephone is somehow spiritually, cosmically whatever the word is.
Asking to be taken to a place where we can see things in the future.
Okay, so we're on the phone, but it's physically ringing, or
in the cosmos,
cosmically ringing your phone.
Right.
So that
correct.
You're going to connect.
Yes.
So you don't necessarily have to be present. You don't necessarily.
You have to be present, but only on a spiritual
level. Okay, so you have to be present spiritually, not physically.
That's right.
All right.
That's the way I see it.
Okay, so in other words, we could take a phone call and talk to somebody on the other side of that phone and get every single little detail we need to get about their future by you'll lay out the deck of cards in whatever format you use.
And I will direct that reading to the person on the other side of the phone or whatever tool.
Okay. We'll post that in our podcast, and then you'll answer that question as it comes up.
In a timely fashion. Time is a man-made thing anyway. So if you want to leave a message, I will answer it readily when I see the answer.
Okay, so you're going to lay down some cards when that question comes in.
When that question comes in, I would
whatever they say to you will be the answer.
What I have in front of me, and what I have in front of me is the story.
Okay,
and the cards never lie.
The cards never lie. Okay.
Cards never lie.
How does astrology and horoscopes relate to reading a deck of cards?
I have no idea. That's the mystery to me, and I'm so fascinated by it because I can lay out a deck of regular cards, and then on the same day, at almost the same moment, I can put out tarot cards. I can read my horoscope in the newspaper, and they can all have a similar message.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mystery to me. And that also helps me to believe that there is something here.
Okay. We are going to do a live card reading with my mom, and we'll see how we do. All right, what do I have to do?
Okay, here we go. Shuffle those cards.
Okay.
Until they feel like you've gotten your energy right into those cards.
Right.
And make a wish at the same time, or maybe if you have a question you'd like an answer to.
Did you count these?
I did not count those. We're going to take them as they are.
I thought you were a professional at this.
I don't have to be professional at this. I just have to let the cards flow with energy and we'll be fine.
So you have a gift is what you're saying.
I'm saying I use those as a tool.
So what if something's
connect
missing?
With a higher level.
What if I have a card missing, then what?
Then you're not supposed to have it.
Okay.
Of course, we do want a handful, but...
All right, I'm shuffling the cards.
All right, are you making a wish?
No.
Well...
Was I supposed to?
Make a wish. You have to make a wish or ask a question, a big question that you've wanted an answer to, and maybe we'll find it in the cards.
All right.
And then when you're ready, take out 24. Any 24.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Okay, I can already tell just by the way you dealt yourself those cards that you're a man of action, that you are very direct. You like to go from point A to point B. No fuss, no muss.
I could have told you that.
Not true.
All right. Hey, Peanut Gallery, pipe down over there.
Well, Jason, where are you going? You have a trip planned.
Really?
Not a terribly expensive trip, just a nice jaunt, but it'll be a good distance away. I'm thinking you might even have to take a plane or a cruise, something that's going to be over a large amount of land or a large body of water. Part of this is something you may win, or it's also connected to somebody whose birthday is around July 10th.
July 10th.
Now, whose birthday would be July 10th?
I don't know.
I think that's going to play a large role in this whole thing, okay?
Frankie's July 10th. You know who else is July 10th?
Your card reader.
The card reader herself.
Okay, now I'm laying down all the cards in a circle, like the spokes of a wheel, and I'm going to consider this a yearly forecast. since that trip came up immediately, I think probably that's going to happen fairly soon, sooner rather than later.
Okay.
So I would say before too long, you're going to get either some information that's going to lead you in that direction. I'm holding a card that says it might be in September that you actually go on this trip, but you may plan it for quite a while.
Did I count the cards right?
You have one extra one for some reason, unless I laid them down. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, should go there. All right.
I can count, Paige.
So think about this trip and where you would like to go. If you could go anywhere right now, where would it be?
Man, that's a tough one. I don't really want to go on a trip. Now what?
Well, don't be so difficult. If you had a trip offered to you, I think you might take it.
Okay.
Okay. You and your family might.
Well, yeah.
It might put a little pressure on you to do it.
You didn't say me and my family. You said me.
That made a difference. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, now I see good business around you. Something that started probably in January. Some connection, a very light-complected, blue-eyed person. Could have white hair, but I think probably has blonde or light hair, light complexion, very youthful looking. But this person holds your cards for some reason, holds something, some connection to your business. And that connection will improve your business. And within 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, you're going to feel the power of that connection, and you're going to realize and appreciate that connection that was made in January. You'll recognize where it came from.
In January. All right, how am I supposed to know who this person is?
You don't have to know.
What do you mean I don't have to know?
You will, when you come next to this person, you'll know who it is. You'll say, "Oh, I've met you before," or
Is it a guy or a gal?
You. I don't know. That's funny because you're holding a jack there, and a jack could be either one.
A jack could be either one?
Yes. A king would be a man.
Okay.
Queen would be a woman. A jack can be either.
Okay.
But a jack is more youthful. Okay? It could be a 75-year-old man who acts like a 40-year-old. But the youth aspect has to be there.
Okay. But there's something youthful about this person.
Yes.
All
yes.
Right.
Okay. Good. Or maybe this person just is very young. We don't know.
Right.
But when you meet this person, you'll know. All right. I see you going to a wedding. And maybe this is part of the trip business. You may get an invitation that pulls you away.
Dee's wedding, right?
And it's going to be a very expensive wedding. Very expensive.
For me or for them?
Well, I think it's a very lavish wedding on the one hand, but it's going to cost you some money to get there and to be part of this wedding or participate in this wedding or just attend this wedding with your whole family.
Okay, so we're going to get invited. If I go to this wedding, it's going to cost me some bucks, is what you're saying?
Yes, as most weddings do.
Great. Well, I hope I meet this other person who's going to make me rich.
Well,
first.
That would be good. That would be good.
Okay.
Okay. Now, there's a delay here, and I don't know what the delay is. It could be has to do with your children within a 3.
Okay.
And I'm thinking probably if this is February, March, April, May, somewhere around May, there's something that you're anxious to have completed. And I'm wondering if you're just waiting for them to get out of school. You're saying, I want this school year to be over so we can do this or do that. Or
that makes sense, except they get out in June.
I know, but in May, you're going to feel it. You're going to start saying it.
All right.
All right. And it has to do with your children. So it may not be school, but I'm just thinking based on where the cards are placed, it might be a school issue. All right.
Okay.
Now, moving on into this summer, one of your children, I would say, is going to surprise you this summer with either a comment or a skill, something that comes right out of nowhere, or a wish, something that one of your children has been thinking about and wants to show you a skill or wants to learn more about something.
Mm-hmm.
And you're quite surprised at it. It doesn't seem to be in character with that child.
Do you think it's you, Paige? Maybe.
It's true, but you already know about hunting in Bronson.
I don't know.
Maybe Paige will say, I'd like a bow and arrow. I want to go hunting.
That would be a surprise.
That would be a surprise.
Tiny plus 3 actually 150.
That's true.
True.
Maybe Paige wants to get up at 4 o'clock every morning and go running with you.
Well, there's two things wrong with that right there. Number one, Paige doesn't get up before 6 o'clock, ever.
Well, see, this is the surprise element, right?
Secondly,
here.
I don't go jogging. That's probably even more important.
Well, somewhere around the 5th of July, the day after the 4th,
Okay.
you will hear her say or hear him say something that you've never heard them say before.
Okay.
All right? Remember that. All right. Who's the policeman in your family?
Well, that would be Uncle Eric,
Uncle Eric. Well, around
my brother.
October, Uncle
Page's
Eric
Yep.
may be looking for some kind of a different position. It may still be connected to law enforcement, but I'm thinking he may try something a little different, a different aspect of it.
And this is definitely a brother and not a friend.
I'm just saying whoever the law enforcement person is.
Well, I've got a bunch of people.
Oh, well, you just only mentioned Uncle Eric,
Oh,
so that's all.
First one that comes to mind, but I've got, there's probably 6 or 7 police
Wow.
officers that I'm friends with. So.
Really? Okay, well, since Uncle Eric came to mind first, we're going to go with him.
Okay.
All right, so around October, wait for news.
Okay.
See if he does something different.
All right.
All right. I'm thinking that you and Bronson are going to take a trip together, too. Now, that's different, and it's much farther away than the first trip I spoke of.
Okay.
It's just the two of you, I believe. I think it's Bronson, and it's a short distance. It's not getting on a plane and going off to Timbuktu. It's going to a Red Sox game. It's going to some kind of a sport event or the Basketball Hall of Fame or something like that. It's a special day.
Okay.
Okay, for the two of you together. Okay, now, did we use all the cards? No.
No.
All right. Pull out another card.
Just
and
one?
We'll look at the, yes.
Can I
And
pick
we'll look at
any
the
card
whole
I want?
picture. Any
Can I
card you
shuffle
want.
them?
You can shuffle them.
All
You
right.
can focus on your wish again. All right, within a 3, that's going to happen.
Within a 3.
Within a 3. Probably.
3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years.
I'm thinking 3 days to 3 weeks. Somewhere in that span of time, you're going to get some news that's going to propel you as a family somewhere.
Well, I don't know about that. Well, we'll see.
Okay. That's your yearly forecast.
That's my forecast. That's my
a
future forecast.
Yearly reading. If you want the whole picture for a year, that's pretty much what you got.
Paige, what do you think about all this?
I don't see your wish card there, which may mean that your wish is going to be delayed.
My wish card.
Do
I know which one of those is my wish card?
No, you don't.
Oh.
I'm not telling you any of the meanings because they're so fluid
Okay.
that it depends on what they're with
All right.
and what their position is in the cycle.
All right. Good. So that's it?
That's pretty much the short version, yes.
All right. How much longer could we have gone on if we wanted to?
Well, if you had a lot of questions, I'd probably ask you if you had any questions specifically about what I've told you.
Okay.
If you wanted me to think about things like what people might be involved in this, whether they're here or whether they're in spirit.
All right. Are they here or are they in spirit?
My instinct is telling me that they're all here.
Okay.
However, there is one medium-complected woman around your trip who might be encouraging that to happen. But I don't think she's here. I don't think she's anyone in your daily life, except that she's looking out for you.
So I don't know this person yet?
Could be Gawk. No, it's someone who loves you unconditionally, but just happens to be somewhere else.
Alrighty then. All right. Well, thanks, Mom.
You're welcome, Jason.
That's cool.
It sounds like a pretty good future you've got going.
Excellent. All right.
Watch out for that light-complected person who's going to give you a business tip.
Thanks for tuning into our show. Our website is www.mymomisspsychic.org, where you can find Mom's merch and other info about the show, seminar schedules, and private bookings. We can also be found on social media by searching for My Mom is Psychic on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Please give us some love and leave us a review, and subscribe to the show when you get a chance. To have Mom answer your cosmic question to be played and answered on the podcast, please call our new number and leave your question at 802-868-1692. That's 802-868-1692. If you would like to book a private reading with Mom, please send an email to bookings@mymomIspsychic.org. We will schedule a session and send you an invoice to hold your spot with Mom. We are booking several weeks out and demand is high, so please book a date as soon as possible. And finally, if you are interested in having Mom teach you her methods on how to read cards, please visit our website for a schedule of Mom's card reading seminars coming soon to a conference center near you. That's it for now. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll be back here with you soon, right here on My Mom is Psychic. All right. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you.
Anytime.
Okay.